Joining me now is New York Congresswoman, another Tenney, Claudia Tenney, not necessarily related to Garrett, member of the House Ways and Means Committee, and California Congressman Darrell Issa, member of the House Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committees. Good to see you both. Thank you for being here. You are both Republicans in blue states. What would happen if the president picked a couple of cities in your states, whether it was New York City for Claudia or Darrell for you somewhere in L.A., whatever? What would you do? First to Darrell, what would you do if the president ordered them there? Would you support the president or the governor who would be opposed to that idea?
Well, David, thanks for having me on. And having San Diego and over 80 miles of the Mexican border, I have welcomed and I continue to welcome the additional federal troops that are right now helping at the border. We're a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state. Virtually all the major cities in San Diego, in addition to San Diego, are sanctuary on top of the state. That means they obstruct the federal government in doing the job of making cities safer. So absolutely, if you have what is effectively an insurrection by the government of a state in that they block the detention and removal of illegal immigrants and other criminals, then of course we'd welcome that they come in and do the job.
And Congresswoman, before you answer that same question, I just want to play for you a couple of comments from Chicagoans, just folks on the street who are fed up with their crime, what they say about all this indirectly. Roll tape.
This is my real life. I've lost an uncle to Chicago crime. I've lost two first cousins to Chicago crime. I've lost distant family members, friends, neighbors. And what they want us to do is find comfort in this chaos and normalize this trauma. And we're not doing it anymore.
Just last night at 3 a.m. in the morning, down the street from me, I heard 7 gunshots. It's no way Brandon Johnson or Governor Pritzker would allow their family to go through the things that they know we are going through.
Well, Mayor Johnson is not speaking for them. That's absolutely clear, nor is the governor of Illinois. I suspect you could find a lot of people in some of the tough areas of New York who would say the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I have to echo the sentiment of my colleague from California. We have a sanctuary state, sanctuary cities. I have the entire northern border of New York in my district, pretty much. And Tom Homan, who you just showed a clip of, actually is a resident of my district who they torment at his home, even though he's not there, on a weekly basis. But, Kathy Hochul already brought in the National Guard because we had 2 prisons in New York State that were overrun and taken over by inmates. How incredibly dangerous is that? Not just for the people and the people that live in New York, for the inmates and for everyone. And so bringing the National Guard in to provide some order, they can also provide the logistics that's needed. They also, provide a deterrent factor, just seeing people in uniform that are friendly and trying to keep the streets clean. Businesses can operate, families can feel safe, their kids can get to school. You don't have to worry about illegal immigrants stopping your kids on the school bus, which, by the way, I've got tapes coming from people in my northern border who've seen, illegal immigrants stopping school buses. I mean, this is what reality is in states like New York and California. And I think it would be welcomed by the people, especially upstate and New York City. You heard the same sentiment that you just saw from the people in Chicago. They want law and order. That's the essence of a free society.
And Congressman Issa, we have proof now that this sort of thing does have a very positive effect. Carolyn Levitt spoke to that the other day in the White House. Roll that tape.
Total crime in D.C. is down 19%, and violent crime is down 30%. Carjackings in the district are down 67%. Homicides are down 57%. Robberies are down 40%. Motor vehicle thefts are down 32%. And assaults with dangerous weapons are down 23%. And property crime is down 18%. These numbers prove the president's bold actions to make D.C. safe and beautiful again are working, just like he said they would.
Now, Congressman, is that unique to D.C., or would the same thing play out in other cities?
You know, San Diego was the safest city, border city in America at one
Yeah.
time when we enforced the law. Look, San Diego is a wealthy but not an overly wealthy city. Washington D.C. has billions of dollars in surplus, and only after the president took the initiative did the mayor come and say this worked. Well, now she should do the same thing. Basically, begin enforcing the law, stop being a sanctuary city, and if she does it and these other cities do it, then there won't be a need for federal troops. But if you've allowed your citizens to deal with what you saw from those Chicago residents, then they deserve the federal government to protect them if their local officials won't.
Yeah, it's the first job of government. I want to switch quickly, Claudia, to the idea of it's not necessarily illegality. We haven't decided whether it is or not, that Lisa Cook is accused of having done. Essentially deal with mortgages in a way in which they were liar loans, essentially. She was saying that she had residences at both areas. Now there's a third residence. She didn't claim it was where her primary residence was. She said it was a summer home, but then later on she said it was an investment policy. What do we do? Is this just nitpicking? Or is it important for the credibility of the Fed to have a governor of the Fed do exactly what the Fed says is very important to do, because they've written papers about how these kind of liar loans can lead to the sort of 2008 crisis, the financial crisis that affected everybody?
Yeah, look, the president's looking for accountability, especially from the Fed. And I think to just say he wants interest rates lowered, everybody knows that, but he could remove them if he wanted to, I guess. But I mean, this is what the courts are going to decide. But I think Lisa Cook has shown that she's using her position for personal gain. She's lied. The question is whether or not she's committed something that would be arbitrary and capricious. Maybe that's the standard. They're actually looking for a standard right now legally. And that could be a standard that could remove her. And that would be up to a judicial decision right now, because she's got an attorney, challenging this. But I think President Trump is just trying to get good people in government to represent us. We're tired of bureaucrats who take advantage of the system, and especially people that can't even uphold the law, who are now enforcing the law against others.
Congressman, it's not so much about the independence of the Fed as it is about accountability of the people that work there, isn't it? I mean, you can not necessarily have the White House take over the Fed, as some people are suggesting, but you got to have accountability. You're violating the rules of the place that you're working at.
David, absolutely. And, look, we can all debate whether or not the court is going to support the president on this. But I can tell you, and any senator, current or former, will tell you, had they known that she falsified documents for 3 separate loans, when she was going through confirmation, she would have been refused or withdrawn.
Yep.
And that should be as good a standard as firing to keep somebody from continuing to serve.
You folks are great. Great to see you. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. Claudia Tenney and Darrell Issa, both members of the House of Congress. Thank you for being here.